Day 12, the periodic table. Well, one of the first things you should have noticed about my periodic table are all of the bright colors to help you figure out how it's all pieced together. So what I'd like to share with you is, first of all, the atomic symbol, like in this case nitrogen, the atomic symbol is listed in red. That means it's a gas at room temperature. Elements that have atomic symbols that are listed in black are solids at room temperature, and the ones that are bluish green, those are liquids at room temperature, and the atomic symbols that are all in white are synthetic. Well, a column of elements, or a group of elements, or family of elements, a column is a group or family, like this very last column, those are called the noble gases. And next to them, the one in pink, those are called the halogens. This first family, or this first group, the ones in red are called the alkali metals, and the ones in blue are the alkaline earth metals. Now, hydrogen is placed here in this first group, but it is not a metal. Notice that it is not called the alkali metals. It's placed there for other reasons, specifically the chemical properties of hydrogen. So it's placed there, but it's not an alkali metal. It doesn't belong to that family, but it's placed here because of specific chemical reasons. Now, the elements here in the middle, those are called transitions. And the ones here on the zigzag line, this red zigzag line, those are called metalloids, the ones in a bluish purple color. Those metalloids, well, you see, they're called metalloids or semiconductors because they have properties of both metals and nonmetals. And you might think, well, wait a second, that seems pretty reasonable because everything to the right of the zigzag line, those are nonmetals. And everything to the left of the zigzag line, well, those are all metals, like zinc and copper and aluminum. These are all metals. These are to the left of the zigzag line. And remember, hydrogen is listed in white, so it is clearly a nonmetal. So to recap on that, you take the zigzag line, everything to the left is a metal, everything to the right is a nonmetal, and if it's a bluish purple on the line, then it's called a metalloid. It has properties of both metals and nonmetals. Now, one of the interesting things is these atoms exist either by themselves or in a group. And so we'll scroll down here. We get to the diatomic 7. Notice it says diatomic. That means two atoms. The diatomic 7. Hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. These are the diatomic 7. These elements exist not as single atoms, but as two atoms that are bonded together. Likewise, phosphorus is found as P4 and sulfur is found as S8. So let's go back up here. To help us remember, in our periodic table, remember we have hydrogen, and we have nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. These are the diatomic 7. Notice how they form a 7 in the periodic table, the diatomic 7. And of course, you got to remember to pick up hydrogen. So hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. These form the diatomic 7. Phosphorus is P4 and sulfur is S8. So what I'd like for you to do today is to memorize elements 1 through 54. So what you're going to do is you're going to memorize the names of each element, the atomic symbols of each element, and where each element is positioned in the periodic table. To help you out, this is how you should proceed. You should think of hydrogen and then helium. Then you should say lithium and beryllium. And then there's boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. Sodium and magnesium. Aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon. You should continue doing the periodic table like this through elements 1 through 54. Know where each element's positioned, know the atomic symbol, and be able to make sure that you know how to spell each element. So you might say, well, what is today? Well, it's a memorization day. Know the periodic table. There are some cute sketches online that get you to memorize the periodic table in some fancy way, but I strongly discourage you from doing that. You should memorize the periodic table in the order of the elements and know the positions on the periodic table, not that it's some random order. You should make sure that you provide order for it that's going to help you be able to piece things together later on. So yes, memorization. It's horrible, but sometimes we just need to do it. And I will keep memorization to a minimum in this course, but you will need to make sure that you provide the effort to do the memorization. It will help you solve problems so much faster. Okay, so good luck to you. Enjoy your day.